Hello, dear viewers. My name is Dr. Mohmad Pandit, Assistant Professor at English Department in Institute of Aeronautical Engineering, Hyderabad. Today, I am going to deliberate on the topic tenses. It's often considered as most important topic in a sense that few people call it lifeline or backbone of English language. Uh, Tenses helps you to give clarity to your context and the information you are trying to convey. That is, it is the tenses that gives context to your speech, to your words, or the statement, or the information in a way that you are able to convey your information efficiently. Therefore, if you want to be able to convey information clearly, you should know all 12 tenses and how they are used. Now, first of all, we will see the literal meaning of this word tenses. The English word tenses is derived from a Latin word tempus, which means time. Therefore, you can say that tenses means time or time means tenses. Or in any sentence, an action or a state of being is denoted by the verb. Now, to understand tenses, you need to understand the very importance of verb, because actually it is the verb that shows time of an action. That's why we say that verb it's the most important word in a sentence. As you know that this verb word, it is derived from a Latin word verbatim, which means a word. When we say a word, it means the most important word in a sentence. Therefore, in tenses, actually it is the verb that shows the time of an action. For example, look at these three examples. What is the first sentence? I write a letter. I wrote a letter. And the third sentence is I will write a letter. What is common in all these three sentences? That is subject and object. Here we have a common subject, that is I, and a common object, that is a letter. Only thing that is different is the verb. In the first sentence, we have verb in first form, that is write. In the second sentence, we have the verb in second form, that is wrote. And in the third sentence, we have the verb will write, that is helping verb plus verb in first form. Therefore, it's not I subject or an object, a letter that shows time of an action. It is the verb write, wrote, will write that shows time of an action. For example, when I say I write a letter, write here means something which I do in present. When I say I wrote a letter, it means something which I did in past. And when I say I will write a letter, will write, it means something which I will do in future. Therefore, to understand tenses, you need to understand the importance of verbs. Actually, it is the different forms of verbs that shows time of an action in tenses. Now we will look at the different definitions of tenses. Our first definition is tenses. This is the definition propounded by the Oxford Learner's Dictionary. Here I quote: tenses helps provide clarity and context to our communication, enabling others to understand the temporal sequence and duration of events. Now, if you look closely at this definition, we come to know that it is the tenses that provides clarity and context to our communication. Therefore, uh, we can speak clearly, we can communicate with people clearly if we have the knowledge of tenses. Therefore, tenses are important because it is the tenses that provide, uh, for example, clarity, that provide context to our words or to our speech. Now, look at the second definition. It's by the Merriam-Webster Dictionary, and it provides a slightly different definition. According to it, the word tense is defined as distinction of forms in a verb to express distinctions of time or duration of action or state it denotes. Therefore, again, it is the different forms of verb that shows the time of an action. That's why I told you that this tense, this verb is a very important word in a sentence. It is the verb that shows the time of an action, and the different forms of verb show the different duration or the different time zones. Now we have the different tenses in English. We have, if we talk about these tenses or tenses, or for example, time. As I told you, tenses means time and time means tenses. We have three main divisions of time. That is present time or present tense, past time or past tense, future time or future tense. And each one is further classified into four different forms, which sums up to 12 tenses in total. Here, you need to understand that we have three main divisions of time, or you can say the tense. The first is the present time or present tense. Second is the past time or past tense. And the third one is future time or future tense. Here, you can look at these three examples. What is the first example? I went to school. Second, I go to school. I will go to school. Now, again, if you look at this sentence, we have the same subject, that is I. Therefore, it's not the subject that shows time of an action. It is the different forms of verb that shows the different time periods or different time zones. For example, in first sentence, we have went. Went is a verb. It's the second form of verb. It shows the past time. That is something which I did in past. Now look at the second sentence. In second sentence, we have the verb go. Go, it shows the present time. That is something which I do in present. And now the third sentence, in third sentence, we have the verb will go. And will go, it shows the future time. That is something which I will do in future. And these three main divisions of time, they are further classified into four different forms, which sum up to 12 tenses in total. That means we have 12 tenses in total. And what are these 12 tenses? We have, for example, simple present tense, or you can say present simple tense, or present indefinite, And then we have the second one, that is present continuous tense. Third one is present perfect tense. Then we have the fourth one, that is present perfect continuous tense. In a similar fashion, we divide past tense into four further tenses. What are these four further tenses? The first one is simple past, or you can say past simple or past indefinite. And the second one is past continuous. Third one is past perfect. Then we have the last one, that is past perfect continuous tense. In a similar fashion, we have four divisions of future time, and the first one is simple future. Then the second one is future continuous, and the third one is future perfect, and the last one is future perfect continuous tense. Now we will take these tenses one by one. We will see the different definitions of these tenses, and thereafter we will see the different structures, and at the end we will see, or we will look at the usage of these tenses. Okay, now our the first we will take present tense. Present tense, it has four divisions. The first one is present indefinite, as I told you, or you can say simple present or present simple. And the second one is present continuous. Third one is present perfect. And the last one is present perfect continuous tense. Here we will take the first one, that is simple present or present indefinite tense. We will look at the definition of simple present. What is simple present? When a tense is used to show present tense or present time, it's known as simple present tense. Nothing is said about the completeness or incompleteness of an action. Now look, in simple present, time of an action is present. And the second part of definition is very important. Why? What is the second part of the definition? Nothing is said about the completeness or incompleteness of an action. That is, we don't know whether the action is has just been completed in present or is continuous in present. We don't know from this tense. We know only one thing, that is time of an action is present. That's why nothing is said about the continuity of an action, or nothing is said about whether the action had just been completed. We don't know anything about it. We know only one thing, that is time of an action is present. Now we will come to this definition. First of all, look at the different structures of this simple present. Our first structure is subject plus verb in first form plus other words. And the second structure, and this first structure, it's of a statement, or you can say the assertive sentence or declarative sentence. We write statements in simple present. We write statements like subject. It must be followed by verb in first form and then other words. And other words, it can be anything. It can be object or something else. Now look at the second sentence. How we make helping verb questions in simple present. Does oblique do. We make questions with the help of does or do plus subject plus verb in first form plus other words and then question mark. This is the helping verb question. Now the third structure, it's about a negative sentence. How we make negative sentence in simple present. It is subject plus helping verbs does oblique do plus not plus verb in first form plus other words. Then the fourth structure, it's about both negative and question. How we make both negative and question in simple present. It is like this: does oblique do plus not plus subject plus verb in first form plus other words. But here you need to understand that in simple present, if the subject is third person singular, like he, she, any singular name, for example, the sun, the earth, any singular name, what we do, we add s or es to the main verb. For example, he writes a letter, she writes a letter, the sun rises in the east, it rains heavily. Therefore, if the subject is third person singular, we need to add s or es to the main verb. And with the rest of the pronouns, we don't add s or es. For example, first person singular I, first person plural we, second person both, that is you, and the third person plural, we don't add s or es to the main verb. That's why we write I write a letter, or we say or we write I write a letter, we write a letter, they write a letter, you write a letter. We don't say I write a letter. No. Now, coming back to the definition of simple present, I will repeat this definition, and this definition goes like this: when a tense is used to show present time or present tense, it's known as simple present tense. Nothing is said about the completeness or incompleteness of an action. Here in simple present, we know only one thing, that is, time of an action is present. We don't know whether an action had just completed in present or is continuous in present. We don't know anything about it. We know only one thing, that is, time of an action is present. That's why look at the second part of definition. Nothing is said about the completeness or incompleteness of an action. Now the question arises, uh, can we express a future event or a continuous action in simple present? Yes, we can, but under certain situations. That's why I told you nothing is said about the completeness or incompleteness of action. Does it mean that we can't express a future event or any continuous action in simple present? Yes, we can. We can express future event in simple present. Yes, we can express continuous event or action in simple present, but under any some special situations, and we will talk about it later on. Now, look at the next slide. This is about the usage of present indefinite tense or present simple present or present simple. Now, one more thing that I want to introduce, uh, why we call it simple. Why we call it simple present. What is simple in simple present tense? We often say simple present tense or present simple. Why simple? Because here nothing is said about, as I told you, nothing is said about the completeness or incompleteness of an action. Simply, we know one thing, that is, time of an action is present. That's why we call simple present. But it does not mean that we can't express any future event or continuous event in simple present. Yes, we can, but under certain special situations. Now, look at the uh, usage of simple present. What is the first thing? We use simple present tense to express habitual action. And what is this habitual action and what is this habit? Habit means the repetition of same action. When we repeat an action, naturally becomes a habit. And simple present tense is used to express habit. For example, look at the first sentence. I get up early every day. Now, we have the verb. Here we have the verb get up. And the verb get up, it is verb in first form. It's verb in first form. And you need to look at different indicators so that you can identify whether the sentence is in present or is it in past. For example, if you look at the sentence, here we have the word every day. This every day, it suggests what? It suggests habitual action, something which I do repeatedly. That's why we write, I get up early every day. Get up is a verb in first form, and here our indicator is every day. It's the word every day that shows the repetition of same action. Therefore, we can say that this is a habit and it should be expressed in simple present tense. Now, the second one is John brushes his teeth twice a day. Again, we have verb in first form. In second sentence, we have verb in first form. Therefore, this is simple present tense. Now, look at the indicator. We have twice a day. Now, again, there's a repetition of action. And what's the action? John brushes his teeth twice a day. Twice a day, it is an indicator. It shows some action is repeated, and that too twice a day. Now, the next one is he plays. Again, we have verb in first form. He plays chess occasionally. Now, the occasionally, don't confuse this word occasionally with something which is not a habit. Yes, of course, it is a habit. Occasionally means on intervals, not regularly. But occasionally, it here becomes a habit. For example, we will take a week. For example, a person A, he plays just once in a week. Then this is the first week. Then the second week, again he plays just um, once in a week. Now he repeats the same thing. In the third week, again he uh, plays just once in a week. Therefore, here is the repetition of an action. This action is repeated. Therefore, a habitual action because here this work that means playing chess, it has been repeated, okay, occasionally. Now the third sentence, Imam watches cartoon once a week. Again, here we have the indicator that is once a week. An action, it's being repeated once a week. Therefore, it becomes a habit. And in all these sentences, we have verb in first form. Why verb in first form? Because it shows habit, and we express habitual action in simple present tense. Now, the second one is uh, we use simple present tense to express general or truth or universal truth. Now, what's this universal truth? Universal truth means something which is acknowledged by the whole world or something which is accepted by the whole world. or something which is a fact that no one can deny, uh, which we accept readily, something which we acknowledge, which we accept, or which we can't deny, is a universal fact or universal truth. For example, look at the first sentence. We have the sun as a subject. This is third person singular. And then third person singulars, we have to add s or es to the main verb. Here we have verb in first form. The sun rises in the east. Yes, this is a universal fact, and everyone knows it. We acknowledge it, that sun rises in the east. And the next one is the Queen of England lives in Buckingham Palace. Again, this is a universal fact and everybody knows it. And the next one is humans or mortals. Again, this is a universal fact. Everyone knows it is a fact. Everyone acknowledges it as a fact. And now see the third one, third usage of simple present. We use simple present to show future event that is part of fixed timetable or fixed program. As I told you, yes, we use simple present to express a future action or future event, but in some special cases. For example, if that future event or that future action is part of fixed timetable or fixed program, then we can express that future event in simple present tense. Like in first sentence, tomorrow is Sunday. Now, if you see the tomorrow, where tomorrow it shows future. Here I'm talking about something which is future, that is tomorrow. But still I use simple present tense. Why? Because tomorrow, the Sunday, it is fixed. It's a part of fixed timetable. We can't remove it. We can't postpone it. We can't deny it. We can't defy it. Tomorrow is Sunday. It's a part of fixed timetable. Therefore, yes, we can express any future action or any future event in simple present if that future action or the future event is the part of fixed timetable, like here Sunday. As you know, today it is Saturday and tomorrow it will be Sunday. Yes, we can express this future event in simple present because surely tomorrow is Sunday. We can't deny it. We can't defy it. We can't postpone it. Now look at the second sentence. For example, now we have the time like 11 a.m. Here I'm talking to my friend and he's asking me about today's match. And 11 a.m., this is present time, and 7 p.m. today, it is future time. And my friend, he's asking me about the match. Okay. And what I say, for example, when he says, when does match start? And now look at my uh, answer. The match starts at 7 p.m. Although 7 p.m. is future, but look at my tense. My tense is simple present. The match, this is subject, and then we have the start. Starts is verb in first form. The match starts at 7 p.m. Here I am talking about 7 p.m. and the 7 p.m. is future time. It's a future time. But I use simple present tense. Why? Because the time of this future event, it is fixed. uh, it's fixed. It's something which can't be postponed, or it is something that shows the permanence, that shows the regularity. That's something that happens likewise daily. The match starts at 7 p.m. Now I use simple present tense to express this future event, because this future event is a part of fixed timetable or fixed program. Now look at the third sentence. The next flight is 9 a.m. tomorrow. Again, here we have the subject, the next flight, and the verb is, which is in present tense. Why? Because the time of this flight, it is fixed. It's a part of fixed timetable. Or you can say, for example, the Prime Minister visits. Here we have the verb in first form, America next Monday. Why? Because this action, although this tense is simple present, but here the event is future. I'm talking about future and in simple present tense. Why? Because this action, it's a part of fixed program. Now look at the next one. We use simple present tense to express proverbs. Why? Because proverbs are supposed to be true. That's why we show proverbs in simple present tense. It gives the idea of permanence, like a sit in time saves nine. Again, here we have a sit in time subject, and here we have verb in first form saves. Why? Because it is something which is considered as truth. That's why we express proverbs in simple present tense. Now the next one is make hay while the sun shines. Again here we have verb in first form. The first form, because it is supposed to be true. That's why we write these proverbs in simple present tense. Don't bite the hand that feeds you. Again here we have the feeds verb in first form, because it is something which is related to truth. That's why we express these proverbs in simple present tense. Now look at the fifth one, the fifth usage of simple present. In exclamatory sentences that begin with here and there, we express continuous action in simple present tense. It means if a sentence, if an exclamatory sentence starts with the like here and there, here, what we do, instead of continuous tense, we use simple present tense. Or to make it more simple, in place of present continuous tense, we use simple present tense. But the condition is, if a sentence, if an exclamatory sentence starts with here and there, although the event is continuous, although an action is continuous, but we don't use continuous tense. We use simple present tense, like here. Here she comes. Now look at this sentence. We have subject she and then comes, verb in first form. Look at the second sentence. There she goes. Again we have subject she, third person singular, and then we have verb in first form. When I say that there she goes, and if you look at the sentence, at the time of speaking, action is continuous. She, for that matter, any girl, she's walking. It's continuous action. But we don't use continuous tense. We use simple present tense. Remember, if an exclamatory sentence starts with here and there, what we do, instead of continuous tense, although the event or action is continuous, but we use simple present tense. That's why I told you in the beginning that yes, we use simple present tense to express future action or event or continuous action or event in some special situations or conditions, and this is one among them. Now look at the next usage, sixth one. We use simple present tense to show city directions, or simply you can say directions. Look at the first sentence. Here comes King Lear and his attendant. Now, if you look at the sentence, we have verb in first form, comes, verb in first form. Although King Lear, he is walking on the stage, he is approaching towards the stage, his action is continuous, but we don't use present continuous tense, we use simple present tense. Uh, Therefore, remember, for state directions or directions, we use simple present tense instead of present continuous tense. Event is continuous, action is continuous, but instead of present continuous, we use simple present tense. Now look at the second example. You walk for 200 meters and then you turn left. Now this is a direction showing directions. Again, in showing directions, we use simple present tense instead of present continuous tense. Here we have the verb walk, that's verb in first form, and then you turn left again, we have verb in first form. Therefore, remember, in stage directions or directions, instead of present continuous tense, we use simple present tense. Now, the next one, the sixth one, uh, to give a running commentary of events as they are actually happening. Now, again, the live commentaries we use simple present tense when the event is continuous at the time of speaking, when the event is going on at the time of speaking, like Kohli comes forward now and hits the ball. Now, here, look, the action is continuous, but we don't use continuous tense. Instead of continuous tense, we use simple present tense. Now look at the seventh one. We use simple present tense to write, for example, book reviews. For example, there's a book called Robin Hood. This is the title of book. This is the name of the book. Now look at the tense. I'm writing a review of this book called Robin Hood. Robin Hood is a delightful book. The hero is a friend of the poor. He robs the corrupt rich to pay the poor. The story has many events which move fast. The reader is seldom bored. Now, if you look at different verbs, here we have is, this is the present form, be form, again we have is, it is the present be form, and then we have the robes, this verb in first form, then we have the has, again this is be form, present be form, and then we have the move verb in first form, and this reader is seldom, again is uh, present form would be. Therefore, when we write book reviews, we use simple present tense. Now the next one, the eighth one, uh, we use simple present tense instead of a simple future tense in classes of condition and time. Remember, although the action shows us future time, but we don't use future tense. We use simple present tense. Uh, Look at, for example, I will wait till you finish your lunch. Remember, uh, we use a simple present tense instead of simple future tense in clause of time and condition. Yes, although time of an action is future, but we don't use simple future tense. We use simple present tense. Remember, only in clauses of time and condition. Now look at the first sentence. I will wait till you finish your lunch. I, this is subject. It's followed by helping verb well, and then we have the wait. Wait is verb in first form. Therefore, the first class it's in simple future, and then we have the till, which shows the time. Now look at the second clause. Till you finish your lunch. Now finish, this is verb in first form, and you, this is subject. Therefore, this sentence, this class, it's in simple present. It's in simple present. Although it gives the sense of future. It gives the sense of future. He has not finished his lunch. He will finish his lunch or her lunch in future. Therefore, instead of simple future, we use simple present. Now, look at the second sentence. What is the second sentence? If I find a job, I will help you. Now, the first class, it's a conditional class. It's a first conditional class, or you can say the open condition. What is the first class? That is subordinating class or dependent class. If I find a job, it means that at present I don't have job. If I find a job, that means it is something which will happen in future. But still, I use what? Simple present tense. Simple present tense instead of simple future. Yes, surely it gives the sense of future. If I find a job, it means that at present I don't have job. I will get my job or I will find my job in future. That's why he's saying if I find a job. Here the sense it's of future, but we don't use future tense. We use simple present tense. If I find a job, I will help you. And the second class, that is the main class or the principal class, yes, of course, it is in future tense. It is in future tense. And remember, when you find one class in simple future, another class must be in simple present. Although that class, that is conditional class, like here, if I find a job, it gives the sense of future, but we don't use future tense, we use simple present tense. Or likewise, for example, if it rains, we shall get wet. Now look at the subordinating class, the first class. Here we have it as a subject, third person singular. Then we have rains verb in first form. And this is simple present. What is the tense? It is simple present. If it rains, that is, it is something which will happen in future. It's not raining now. At present, it's not raining. If it rains, it is something which will happen in future. If it will rain in future, we shall get wet. Of course, the second class, that is the main class or principal class, it's in simple future. But look at the first class, that is subordinating class. Your subordinate class, it gives the sense of future, but we don't write future tense. Instead of future tense, we write simple present. That's why I told you we use simple present tense instead of simple future in the class of time and condition. Although the event, although an action is in future, it gives the sense of future. but we don't use future tense, we use simple present tense. Next tense, I would like to make you clear why we call it simple present tense, or what is simple in simple present tense. Again, here you need to remember that in this tense, nothing is said about the completeness or incompleteness of an action. Here, simply we know only one thing, that is, time of an action is present. That's why it's called a simple present. And now look at this third usage. I told you that this we use simple present instead of we use simple present tense to express an action that's part of fixed timetable. But in definition, I told you something different. That is, the time of action must be present. Now, if yes, of course, we use simple present tense to express future event, but in some special cases. For example, here this future action or the future event, it's a part of fixed timetable or it's a part of fixed program. That's why we use what simple present tense instead of simple future tense. Now, the next one is the present continuous tense. When a tense is used to show what is going on or what is happening right now or at the time of speaking, it's known as simple present tense. It's known as present continuous tense. Now, here the time of an action is not only present, it is continuous in present. That's why we call it present continuous tense. Remember, we use present continuous tense to express an action which is going on at the time of speaking. For example, she is singing a song. When I am speaking about this event or an action, what she is doing, she is actually singing a song. That's why I say she is singing a song. Or the boys are playing cricket. When I say this, actually boys, they are in the ground, they are playing with the ball and bat. That means at the time of speaking, my speaking action is going on, it's continuous. Now look at the different structures of present continuous tense. Present continuous tense, we use subject plus be form of verb, but present form, plus verb in first form, plus ing, plus other words. Like he's writing a letter, and this is the structure for a declarative sentence or statement or assertive sentence. Now look at the second sentence. This is how we make questions in present continuous tense. Is, am, are. That is a helping verb, be forms of verbs, plus subject, plus verb in ing form, plus other verbs, and then question mark. And the third sentence, how we make negative sentences in present continuous tense. It is subject plus be forms of verb, but present be forms of verb, that is, am, are, plus not, plus verb in first form, plus ing, plus other words. Now, how we make both interrogative as well as negative sentence in present continuous tense. It's like this: is, am, are, that means be forms of verb, then followed by not, plus subject, plus verb in ing form, plus other words. Now, these be forms of verb, that is, am, are, they help us to make interrogative sentence, and the not, it help us to It helps us to make a negative sentence. These are the different structures of present continuous tense. And again, we use S form, that is. We use is with third person singulars like he is, she is, it is, or Ram is. Any singular name, we use is. And then uh, with am, we use subject as first person singular I am. And with the rest of the pronouns like first person plural, second person both, or third person plural, we use are. For example, we are writing a letter, they are writing a letter, uh, and the next tense. In a similar fashion, we can make questions of present continuous tense by using the structure like is, am, are. But you need to understand helping verb questions. If you want to make W question, simply you need to add WH here. For example, what are you doing? What? That's WH question, interrogative pronoun, and then we have what are. Are is a B form of verb. Then we have the you as a subject and verb in ing form plus other words. Now, as I told you that present continuous tense, it's used to express an action that's going on or that is happening now. The time of an action is present, but it is continuous at the same time. That means an action is going on now. It's continuous. It's incomplete. It's in progress. But look the first usage of present continuous. Present continuous tense is used to express a temporary action which may not be happening at the time of speaking. And this first usage, it is directly in contradiction with our definition. In definition, I told you that present continuous tense, in present continuous tense, we express an action that is going on at the time of speaking. But here, what is the first usage? It is completely in contradiction with our definition. Here, present continuous tense is also used to express a temporary action which may not be happening at the time of speaking. Like, for example, there's a conversation between two friends, and one is John and the second one is Lily. Now, see the first sentence, first dialogue. What are you doing? John to Lily. What are you doing? And see the answer of Lily. I am reading a novel. But here, actually, at the time of speaking, she's just giving answer to John. She is not reading the novel. Therefore, we can use this present continuous tense for a temporary action. That means action that we have stopped for a moment so as to, like here, so as to give an answer. Actually, yes, Lily, she's reading a novel. But right now, she has stopped this reading for a moment so that she can answer John. Now, look at the next example. David is writing a book for children. Now, David is in front of me right now. When I say David is writing a book for children, at the time of speaking, he is not writing. Then why I use simple present tense? As I told you, why I use present continuous tense? I use present continuous tense to express a temporary action. Yes, of course. Today or these days, he's writing a book for children. But right now, he has come office to perform his duty. He has temporarily stopped that work. That's why I say David is writing a book for children. I live in Hyderabad. I'm living in Hyderabad. Look at these examples. The first sentence, it's in simple present tense. We have live verb in first form, then we have am living, that is helping verb plus verb in ing form. Do you find any difference between these two sentences? Yes, of course, there's a difference. When I say I live in Hyderabad, it's in simple present tense. It shows something which is permanent. That means I am the permanent resident of Hyderabad. That means I am born and brought up in Hyderabad, and it shows something which is permanent, or it shows permanence. Now look at the second sentence. I'm living in Hyderabad. That means I'm not born in Hyderabad. Actually, I'm temporarily living in Hyderabad. Okay. Now the first sentence, it's in simple present, and the next is present continuous. That's why I told you that we use present continuous tense in order to show temporary action. For example, here I am living in Hyderabad. That means I am not the permanent resident of Hyderabad. I was not born here. I was not brought up here. I'm temporarily living in Hyderabad. Now, the next usage. We use present continuous tense for an action that has already been arranged to take place in the near future. Yes, we use present continuous tense to express a future action, but that action must be planned. It must be planned, it must be arranged. That's why we say we use present continuous tense for an action that has already been arranged to take place in near future. Near future. For example, right now I'm in front of you and I'm talking to you, or I'm talking to you, for example, I am going to cinema tonight. Now, what's this tonight? This tonight is future. It shows the future time. And look at the tense. Tense is present continuous. Why I use present continuous tense to describe a future event? Because this future event, it is planned, it's already arranged. That's why we use uh, future. We use present continuous tense to express a future event that's planned or that is arranged. And this future event, it should be a near future. Now look at the second. We are visiting Agra this week. Now again, it's planned. We have already booked the hotel. We have already make every arrangement. Therefore, it's a future event. But I use which tense? I use simple present tense because this is a future event or a near future event uh, which is already been arranged. Now, next one, Jane is getting married this December. Now, again, here I'm talking about this December, it means at the end of this month. Again, I'm talking about future, but it's already been arranged, it's already been planned. Therefore, here, remember, we can express near future, or we can express, or present continuous tense is used to express an action that has already been arranged to take place in near future. Now, see the next usage. The third one, we use present continuous tense to talk about developing or changing situations. Yes, we use present continuous tense for any change, for any changing situation. Like the weather is getting warmer and warmer. Now look at the tense. Here we have the weather as a subject, then we have the is as a helping verb and getting verb in ing form. This is present continuous tense. But here I am describing or showing a change in weather. The weather is getting warmer and warmer. Likewise, the roads in the city are deteriorating day by day. Again, here we have the roads in the city as subject and then helping verb plus verb in ing form. Here I'm talking about a change that is occurring in our roads. That is, the roads are deteriorating day by day. We can express any change in present continuous tense. Uh, it was all about this video. We will take other tenses in the next video. Yes, thank you, dear viewers. It was all about simple present and present continuous. Rest we will take in another video. Once again, thank you. Goodbye.
Like, share, and subscribe. Hit the bell icon for more updates.